Surprise, mother truckers! I thought I'd surprise you with a double header of NASCAR diecast review action, considering I've just got the 2015 batch in very kindly from Race Gear UK back here. I thought I'd spoil you, because hey, I've just got a queue of 2015 diecast ready to review. So let's keep going, let's plough straight through. Hot off the back of my Kurt Busch review, let's see if Lionel can keep the streak going with one of the most popular underdog drivers of 2015. It's on box. Yeah, that's about as much as you need to know about the box. There's no dents or scratches. And this thing got smashed to pieces. Zingy, that's a good word. Oh, excuse me. It's sloppy. I've seen paper customs on YouTube done better than this. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is my NASCAR diecast showcase on Martin Truex Jr.'s 2015 Furniture Row Racing number 78 Chevrolet for Furniture Row Racing, really. And, well, we started on a good note with the Kurt Busch diecast. Done very well. I mean, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen that video, where have you been? But, it started well for Lionel, so let's hope they can keep the streak going on this one. And really, there's not much excuse to, because there's not much to this car. The 78 car has been one of the great underdog cars of the last few years. Almost a very old-school team in a way, because think about it, it's just a guy who owns a business, who wants to go NASCAR racing. So he does. So he's put his Furniture Row company on NASCAR race cars. They've been going since about 2005. I remember Kenny Wallace and a few other guys doing various races for him in the mid to late 2000s when they were still sort of a bit of a start and park team, didn't run full schedule, things like that. And then things seemed to turn around a lot more for them when Regan Smith joined in 2010-2011, around that time. And Regan Smith actually got their first ever Sprint Cup victory at 2011 in the Southern 500 at Darlington. What a race to take out, and I still remember that race really well. What a fantastic result for Regan Smith. And as Mike Joy, one of his best calls, he said, Regan Smith takes the flag, this time he'll get to keep it, after reference to the whole Talladega controversy of 2008. Well earned, one of the great underdog performances. But not being funny, I think we all thought that was a flash in the pan and that Furniture Row Racing wouldn't be able to keep that up. Incorrect. They, during 2012, Kurt Busch kind of famously fell off the rails, didn't do well. He ended up at Phoenix Racing, and then near the end of the year, he replaced Regan Smith at Furniture Row. And everyone thought, hang on a minute, Kurt Busch has just been swearing a lot for the last 3 years. What has he done to usurp Regan Smith? He's one of the great little kind of, you know, what's the word, underappreciated talents in Sprint Cup. Kurt Busch proved exactly why Furniture Row hired him, by putting this team in the chase for the Sprint Cup in 2013. He basically did a Ryan Newman and ended up getting in with no wins, but how Kurt Busch didn't win in the number 78 in 2013 remains one of the great problems that the world's great minds are still trying to work out. It's quite unbelievable. The run of fortune he went on in that year was just magnificent. So that was the year that really established Furniture Row Racing as a serious challenge, and I believe that was one of the first years they really started to maximise their alliance with RCR, which now JTT Daughtry Racing, number 47, has also done. I believe Germain Racing, the number 13 with Casey Mears, also have an RCR alliance. So basically, if you're a small team and you want to do well, buddy up with RCR. They seem to be doing pretty well. And then last year, of course, Kurt Busch moved to Stewart-Haas Racing, as we talked about, and Martin Truex Jr. joined the number 78 team. Now, this was fresh off, he was the unfortunate odd man out in the whole Michael Waltrip Racing controversy, when they tried to cheat to get, yeah, it was Truex Jr. into the chase. That was the famous Clint Boyer, oh, I bet your arm's hurting, isn't it? Oh dear, I've spun. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. Oh, and I've just brought out a caution that gets my teammate into the chase. What a coincidence. Yeah, anyway, that was also the famous year where Jeff Gordon became the 13th man in a 12-man chase. Yeah, anyway, we don't need to redress all that. But basically, when Napa rage quit Michael Waltrip Racing, that basically left Martin Truex Jr. out of a ride. So he ended up, after silly season settled down, at the number 78. So everyone thought, wow, Kurt Busch has done pretty well here. Martin Truex Jr. should be able to keep that going. No. 2014 was an absolute stinker for the 78 team. It was nearly the death of them. It was that bad. Martin Truex Jr., nothing went right for him. It was a horrible year. He had all sorts of problems, all sorts of issues. The car just never worked. But then this year, it's really been a turnaround. 2015 has been the year of the comeback. The comeback of Kurt Busch, the comeback of Kyle Busch, the comeback of low downforce to NASCAR, which I'm hyped about, and the comeback of Martin Truex Jr. Ever since then, he has been on an absolute tear. We've been right back to 2013 levels for the 78. But crucially, he's got wins. He got the win at Pocono, and it was one of the great feel-good stories of the last few years. As I say, I mean, he probably should have won at Dover. I remember he was really strong there. But this car has pretty much been up front at every single race weekend this year. It's been quite exceptional. What a run of form for this team, and what a run of form for a car that's just, look at it. It's just black, it's got some names on it. If you were new to NASCAR, you think, well, this is just a team that have barely, you know, their operating budget is what they can find down the back of the sofa in the workshop, and they're gonna be lucky to qualify, let alone make 50 laps into the race. But Furniture Row, they are one of the great underdogs in current NASCAR. I mean, you can argue that they're not technically underdogs because of the RCR Alliance, blah, 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 but to me, they definitely are. They're one of the great little single car teams, and I think they represent the true heart and soul of NASCAR. Now, let's have a look at the model. Now, this is Matt Effect, which is what Kurt Busch's 2014 car was, but crucially, this one doesn't look like it's wrapped in mouldy old cling film. It looks a lot better. I think you'll see it's got a nice finish to it, it's got a nice matte shine to it. There's the Denver Match logo. As I say, there's really not much to screw up on this car because it's barely even a paint scheme. It's just some stickers. It's just some words on a black car, basically. But no, it looks very good. It does look very good. Although, the front end, it's sort of wobbling over to the right a bit there, as you can just see there. It's sort of, it looks like it's kind of winking. It doesn't look too great, but certainly after what we've had from Lionel, it's still a step up. I think this car looks pretty good, I have to say. But as I say, there's really no excuse for it not to be. Somewhere I've got the 2011 diecast of Regan Smith's Furniture Row car, but unfortunately that's stored away somewhere, so I'd bring it out for a side-by-side. But again, there'd be no point. The paint scheme hasn't changed. It's just an all-black car, the red number 78 numbers, and Furniture Row written on it. In fact, in the late 2000s, in the mid-2000s, they had more interesting paint schemes. They were like a mix of like browns and oranges and stuff like that. But recently, they've gone for the all-black matte Destroyer, and well, I tell you what, if it's had any relation to their form on the track, then it certainly worked. And I'm pretty sure Barney Visser won't be wanting a repaint anytime soon because hey, it's working for them. And it's another great diecast from Lionel for this year. It's a good start. We're starting on a good note here. I know a lot of you in America will have had these diecasts for quite a while, but for me, just receiving them over here in the UK, it's great to have them. It's great to have these cars, and it's great to have them looking good again. I believe it or not, as much as it was entertaining for you to hear me bashing the living daylights out of Lionel diecast, I don't like it. I don't want to have to work with rubbish diecast that look like they were slapped together 5 minutes before lunch break. I want to have good-looking diecasts. I'm of the generation that remembers the old the action hood opening cars, the really high-quality stuff. So to have really kind of sloppy diecasts is just unacceptable. So it's kudos to Lionel. They are stepping their game up so far. And from the looks of the other cars I've got lined up to review, this is the level for this year. It looks like 2015, they're right back on song. And great to hear. Great for the diecast community. Great for the NASCAR community as a whole. So this has been my NASCAR diecast showcase of Martin Truex Jr.'s number 78 Furniture Row Chevrolet Ford Furniture Row Racing. And we'll be back on Wednesday, and I'll be back this time next week for another diecast showcase. It'll be more NASCAR stuff. There might be some sports cars involved as well. Who knows? Hope you've enjoyed this doubleheader for this week, and see you soon, Bombers.